Salve!
Hello.
Hello again.
It's time for the Winds of War. Again.
On to the second one.
Yeah.
Do we need an introduction?
Yeah, you might as well read it out.
Okay. So, second Winds of War, here we go. Dry grass singing. Last winter, the Jotun attempted to smooth the passage from Rhinos into Segura. Using the magic of the Sentinel Gate, a band of Imperial heroes from Wintermark, Dawn, Urizen, the League and the Brass Coast travelled to the Madeira Regio in Yellow Chase. Their efforts, which would have made it easier for the Empire to move armies into the Lysambrian hills, as well as giving the Jotun an advantage in conquering Segura, were halted. Peace returned to the arid grasslands of the western Brass Coast. Shortly after the spring equinox, the armies of the Western Orcs crossed the border into Karaman. They seized the town of Damata, and only the vigilance of the garrison at Fort Braden prevented them from conquering the whole of Serra Damata and pushing forward into Serra Briante. They were met by Imperial forces, the Drakes, the Strong Reeds, and the Quiet Steppe, and following a series of close fought battles, pushed back west into the Lysambrian hills again. During each of these engagements, Orcs marching under the banner of the Firebird, the banner of the Lysambrian Orcs, have played a key role. The Hill Orcs have long coveted freeborn territory, even more so than the rest of the southern Jotun. Once they came as bandits, looking to steal the wealth of their human neighbours. Now, their will to conquer seems to have been strengthened by their belief in the seven virtues. No longer cowardly brigands, they fight with the fervour of the convert. Their ambition, courage, and pride seems to drive them on, fueling their passion to conquer land they claim was stolen from them long ago by the first freeborn settlers. A month after the Jotun are driven out of Karaman, a small band of Orcs under the Firebird banner arrive outside the gates of the town of Anders. The citizens close their gates, watching the Orcs suspiciously. These Orcs wear orange mantles over crimson tunics. The people of Anders remember the Lysambrians. They remember how, for a decade or more, they ruled over the conquered people of Anders Jati, before the might of the Empire sent them scurrying back into their dry hills. They remember how they came crawling back, fleeing the Jotun they now seem to serve, living as exiles and demanding charity from their freeborn hosts. They remember the Lysambrians fleeing again, when it was clear the Empire had tired of their demands. They've heard of the Lysambrians fighting in the north, in Karaman, but few of them have actually seen it. An Orc in dusty leather armour approaches the walls of Anders, still under a flag of truce, and shouts up to the people on the walls. He demands their surrender. He is met with laughter, derision, thrown rocks. He demands their surrender again, and again it is met with mockery. "Away with you, bandits," they cry, secure behind the walls. The Orc shrugs, returns to his little band and retreats westward. The people of Anders congratulate themselves, still laughing, at having seen off this terrible threat. If some a little wiser and more vigilant wonder why they have not heard anything from the soldiers stationed at the towers of Anders in the last week or so, their concerns are largely ignored. 3 days later, several thousand Orcs march out of the west. The citizens of the wealthy town of Anders close their gate again. The siege lasts less than 3 hours. By the next morning, the Firebird banner hangs from the walls of Anders. The Orcs call themselves Lysambrians because while they wear the red tunics of the Jotun, they also wear the orange mantles and hoods of the Hierro and the Corazon. establish a command post within the walls, and set to conquering the entire territory in earnest. Fragmentary reports of the Anders Jassy suggest that the Lysambrian orcs are not only interested in the town of Anders, they also take plans to establish controls not only of old Anders, but the rest of the ruins in which Anders was built, but also the Longing Circle to the south. The ruins and the potent Regio are known to predate the freeborn arrival in the Brass Coast. Some say they are Tarunial in origin, others suggest they were raised by the ancestors of the Farad'n. Regardless, they are now under control of the Lysambrian Jotun once more. When they held Anders Jassy previously, the Lysambrians largely ignored the ruins and the Longing Circle. This time, according to refugees fleeing east, they have established a circle of drummers at the southern Regio, and small bands of orcs, led by white-robed Godi, are scouring the ruins of old Anders for something. While some of the orc force remains to secure the town and its environs, the rest continue their slow advance north and east, bringing the rest of Anders Jassy under their control. Regrouping, they begin to press further east into the sweeping, fertile plains of Anosaceri. There are no organised defenders in Segura to slow their conquest, and it seems likely that soon they will control the entire southern region of Segura. While the majority of their forces are focused on claiming territory, the Corazon employ the same strategy they used in Karaman, raiding extensively across the entire territory. They focus their attacks on rich farms and settlements, using their knowledge of the territory they once controlled to strike at the richest targets, while their fellows capture the Kabbalai Palace and the Garden of Sighs. The Corazon assault the Golden Terraces in Anorserai. The orange groves quickly fall to the fast-moving raiders, but they do not remain there long. Once the leading edge of the orc advance washes over the orchards, the Corazon head north to attack the red fields on the Iron Plains and the Sung Song Ranch in eastern Burnish. These raids bring them into direct conflict with the refugees from Zemrus Island, who now occupy much of Yellow Chase and the Sorbal Grasses. The exiles are taken as much by surprise as their neighbours. They have a few defenders among their number, and their farms suffer the same depredations as the rest of the Seguran freeborn. Perhaps, if the Iron Khanat had been constructed, the story would have been different. But even had the project not been cursed with the delays and misfortune, it could not have been built in time to stem the orc invasion without potent magic. As the winter solstice approaches, the Western Orcs are in complete control of Anders Jassy, and have made significant progress towards capturing Anosaceri. Yet, there is something different about this invasion of the Brass Coast. While it is not the bloody conquest that saw the Lysambrians take the entire territory in 363 YE, it is also not the traditional Jotun invasion the Empire has seen most recently in Karaman. Firstly, while individual Jotun champions fight under their own clan banners, the armies here all march under the standard of the Firebird. There are differences, of course, but it seems in many ways that more than being a Jotun force, the army seeking to conquer Segura is a Lysambrian force. Second, while the orcs offer a choice to the humans who survive their attacks, the details are subtly different. The familiar Jotun choice is straightforward: become warrior Jotun or become thralls. Some freeborn are clearly facing this traditional decision, but only those who are overcome by the independent champions. Those whose settlements in Anders Jassy and Anosaceri are captured by the armies are given a different choice. On one hand, they may join the Lysambrians, keep their land and their possessions, but agree to accept the conquerors as their rulers. They must swear an oath of loyalty and to offer a portion of their wealth to the Lysambrians. If they refuse, however, rather than being reduced to the status of thralls, they are simply told to leave. They are allowed to take nothing that they own, save the clothes on their backs, a few sentimental keepsakes, and as much food as they can carry, and driven out. Their wealth, their homes, their weapons. All that the orcs claim is their just rewards. But the people, they simply exile. Those who refuse to join and refuse to leave are commended for their courage and then executed. Their bodies are cremated and the orcs move on. The news spreads quickly. The Lysambrian orcs, it seems, will kill you and will rob you, but they will not enslave you. Few freeborn are prepared to bend their knees to the Western orcs, of course, but some do. They likely have a variety of reasons. A desire to keep their lands, perhaps, a belief that the Empire will liberate them soon enough. It seems that they are expected to pay taxes at much a higher rate than the Empire demands, and they are watched, but otherwise they are left to get on with their own lives. There is, however, one additional wrinkle. Those who choose to stay are forced to confirm their acceptance of the 7 virtues and their rejection of the false virtue, which causing significant problems for the Farad'n and the Cenari merchants passing through southern Segura. There is, it is understood, a peace treaty between the Jotun and the human traders to the south and west of the Empire. The details are not clear, but Farad'n traders at least are granted free passage through the Jotun lands. The Lysambrian orcs are apparently not yet prepared to endanger that peace, but they are clearly unhappy with Farad'n in the lands they have claimed. According to those who pass through Anders to peddle their wares in the Empire, no Farad'n merchant is permitted to trade in Anders Jassi, on pain of death. They are not even permitted to purchase food or drink, visit a parador, or stay at an inn. They must camp by the road at sunset and move on at sunrise. The Farad'n are not amused. For now, they are barred from the markets of Anders, but they are asking what will happen if the Jotun Lysambrians capture more territory. The Cenari, by contrast, appear to have no such agreement with the Jotun. The nature of their alliance offers little protection to their merchants, and they are forced to abandon Anders Jassi altogether. The eastern trade route through Bramar in Faroz is still open, but Segura is effectively closed to merchants from the south. According to some rumours, a number of Cenari traders may even have been executed by the Lysambrians. In the fortnight before the winter solstice, there is one further development. A small part of orcs travelling under a flag of truce arrive at Anozel. They remain outside the walls of the settlement, but demand to speak to someone in authority. The Domiro of Anozel have an emergency council, and one of their number is sent out to speak with the orcs. She returns grim-faced. The invading orcs wish to deliver a message to the people of the Brass Coast. They make no secret of their intention to conquer the whole of Segura, but their ambitions stretch even further. Once they have reclaimed Segura, they will seek to conquer Faroz to the east. These lands, they claim, were taken from their ancestors by the ancestors of the freeborn. Once they have achieved their ambitions, however, they intend to stop. At that point, they are prepared to negotiate a ceasefire with the Empire and to use whatever influence they might have to encourage the rest of the southern Jotun to do the same. Any freeborn who risk to leave will be allowed to do so, but those who remain behind will not be treated as thralls. The Lysambrians have no interest in stealing their prosperity. Instead, they and their descendants will be offered the chance to become part of the new Lysambrian nation. Alternatively, if the Empire wishes, they may end the invasion of the Brass Coast now. If the Empire cedes Segura and Feroz to the Lysambrians, they can ensure that the Jotun attempt no further invasion of the southern territories. In return for a show of good faith, such as ceding the remaining regions of Segura, they will arrange a summit between the southern Jotun and the Empire at the spring equinox to discuss a more long-lasting arrangement. Should the Empire choose to ignore this offer, then the Hierro, the Corazon, and their newfound cousins among the Escuta, the clan formerly known as the Deep Bloods, will take back what was stolen from them and offer their allies among the Orcs of Narkist all the assistance they need to take back their ancestral lands in Karaman, Madruga, and the Marches.
Well then,
Blimey, that's a bit intense, isn't it?
that was heavy.
That's a lot to take in, isn't it?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Well, we'll have a cup of coffee and then we've got to do another one. There's still more to go.
They're
Who's
coming in
talking
thick and
about
fast,
coffee?
and it's not going to be good news,
You
is
can
it?
go and have another tiny wine. Anyway,
I don't
we will
have
see
any
you
water anyway.
in the next one. Bye bye.